Hello everyone, Scott here, and welcome to another video here on my channel. Today I want to talk about bots in DBD, and more specifically kill bots, but I will also cover bots in general, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Dead by Daylight already has bots, but only for survivors when someone decides to DC from a match, and they help fill out the spots when teammates quit the game and the rest of the survivor squad needs a fourth person to play. Bots could help with queue times in my opinion, as well as I see them being a quality feature when someone decides to skedaddle from a match. When someone decides to die on the hook, that will essentially just make the rest of the team weaker, as there will be no bots to fill in the spots because, well, one person just lost the game. I already know people are going to be mad about me talking about the next part here, but I generally think that having bots fill in human spots could help out with queue times, as well as filling in empty player spots to make queue times faster, as there will not be 4 times the survivors as killers to queue in for a match. In many other games there are bots that will fill in roles where there aren't enough human players to take the spots. And of course also when someone leaves the game, and bots should be celebrated as they can actually help a dead game stay alive for a bit longer, like a live support feature for that game. Am I saying DBD is dying? No, and it is a topic for another video someday, so stay tuned for that. But bots will help games stay alive as there are players that can be played against. Imagine you playing a board game on your own. Unless that game is a single player board game, then you're screwed if you don't have a family or friends to play against. Which is also the reason why me and my brother, 2 players basically, play against an AI in the board game version of DBD, which is actually rated for 3 to 5 players. But we managed to come up with an idea so we could play only with 2 players. I will cover the topic in another video, as well as explaining what we do if you're interested in hearing that. Well, I know this is not the case, obviously, in Dead by Daylight, about the game dying, but think about the bots for a second. These mythical beings, codes on an SSD hard drive somewhere, out there, taking decisions based on code. Not that this has anything to do with the bots in DBD, but let me visualize some stuff on the screen for you, how a simple neural network works, and I'll try to make it as short as possible to not explode your brains. The most simple form of an AI is a perceptron, which is just one single node that can give us an output. Imagine that you want to go to the beach, but you face yourself with decision paralysis and don't know if it's a good idea, and you don't know what to do. Here the perceptron can help you with this decision making. You'll take the decision to go out from 3 inputs, which are weather, distance, and willingness. There are multiple ways to do this, but the most common usage for inputs are numbers from 0 to 1, from what I've learned. Let's say the weather is bad, so we give the value of 0.4. Now we say that the distance to the beach is not that far away, so we give the value of 0.8. The last input is willingness, and let's say we really want to go to the beach, so we give a value of 1, which is the maximum score here. Now let's add some weights for how important these inputs are, and bam, I'll do the math here so to not explode your brains. Neural networks will be way more powerful if connected together, with multiple layers, multiple outputs and multiple inputs. This is only what I've personally learned about them. You should probably go do your own research on this subject if you really want to do that. What is the connection here between a perceptron or a neural network and bots in DBD? Well, nothing. I guess if I had to give my best guess is that the DBD bots run on simple code like, if this is 1, then target survivor. If injured, then start chase. If survivor range is equal to 2 meters, swing weapon. Something along those lines, I guess. But why am I explaining this perceptron stuff? Well, it is to share some knowledge which some users have used to create bots for other games, other than DBD, so I find it useful when going into the subject of bots in gaming. I've seen some types of bots that used a neural network in Counter-Strike back when I played that, and those bots were way better than the bots in the game. In the default game, or the default bots in the game, basically. So these bots were better than the original bots, is what I'm trying to say. Now moving on from all of this Perceptron and the general bots onto the killer bots, which is what the subject of the video is all about after all. I don't know if the killer bots have been in the game during the 2v8 game mode, but I saw some videos suggesting it with a nurse bot, but don't hack me up on that. Nor a hook, if I'm mistaken here. Moving on. I get that killer bots actually need a more complex code than survivor bots, and it will take time to code it, but I wouldn't mind if they started off with the 5 original killers from the 2v8 game mode that we saw and started coding them. I will give some examples of stuff I would suggest to these 5 killer bots, but bear in mind no playtesting has occurred, nor am I an expert of balancing with only 500 plus hours in the game, so bear this in mind when going into this. These were also just some random ideas I came up with really quickly, so they might not work the way I intended them to do. So yeah, bear this in mind. Let's start off with Trapper. Trapper should be able to detect his traps from a distance and place them while not in chases, and favor certain spots on the maps like entryways, windows, and pallets. Now moving on to Hillbilly. Hillbilly could charge up his attack and wind up his chainsaw like players do if he can charge within a line of sight or can detect a survivor within a line of sight, and he could use his charge to move towards gens faster. Wraith should obviously spend his time in cloaked mode and uncloak when near survivors to get ready to attack. He could somehow detect survivors if he's nearby them or something like that, and then he will uncloak himself to get ready to attack. Huntress should try to aim for survivors and should be able to calculate trajectory of hatchets to be able to hit far away. However, she would probably be too powerful if she tried to predict survivors' direction instead of directly targeting them. Nurse could be blinking towards survivors when in line of sight, ignoring objects while doing this. To be honest, these ideas are probably bare bones and may not work in practice, but I still think Behavior should research playing against killerbots, so we have some non-player opponents to play against and shit talk. Because you should not do it against players. That's just my thing. I usually, if I have to shit talk my opponents, it's usually a bot. It's, yeah, I'm a sad human being, I know. These ideas are also just to spark up the conversation about what could be used as a ground floor for their programming. I have played against the killerbots on DBD Mobile as well, and while they had a hard time attacking me and downing me, then they should be improved a bit, and the experience with these bots was still great in my opinion. What do you think about all of these killerbots stuff in DBD? Or do you want the killerbots in DBD, or are you like, no, it's enough with the survivors. We don't need any more bots. What do you think about this? Tell me in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your opinion on all of this. Leave a like on this video, ring that bell for notifications, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content. I'm Scott, and I'm out. See you all in the next video. Bye everyone.